Does somebody need a mouse shot? I brought some mouse guns today. We're gonna be taking a look at some of my old school Beretta 950s. This is gonna be fun. 22 short, baby. Oh yeah. For the recoil shy people out there. All right. Oh boy. Wow, accurate little guy, ain't it? Guys, welcome back. Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. It's been a long time since I've done any episodes on mouse guns, primarily the Beretta 950. I must admit, one of my favorite small handguns. I love them, and I feel like it's one of those pistol designs that's kind of flown under the radar and not quite as many people are familiar with. We are gonna go down the rabbit hole, so if you wanna learn about Beretta Minxes, Minx is a nickname that's been given to these guns over the years, and is also used in some of their advertising nomenclature. You're in the right place because we are going to show off some cool variants and maybe some that are pretty rare that you've never seen before. We actually do have a second year production 950 right here we're going to show you as well. So these are really interesting pistols, and it was one of Beretta's attempts to get into the micro pistol market way back in the day. They started making these around 1952. And they ended production around 2003. Somewhere around the middle of that production line, like around maybe 1984, 85 in that ballpark, is when they started making the 21A, which is the 22 long rifle version. Some definite changes made to the overall setup, but these guns fire 22 short, and they had a model in 25 automatic, which we have here. This is a 950 BS. The BS would mean that it was a safety model. So the early models only had a half cock on the hammer, and then you had a safety on the later models. So if you see an S in the model designation, that means it has a manual safety. This one's a 25 automatic. We're not gonna shoot the 25 because I don't have a lot of ammo. I am missing one shot out of the 25, because I killed a copperhead with it a couple of months ago. So I'm missing a round out of that pistol, but they are great pocket pistols and extremely reliable and accurate if you take good care of them. The model that we shot there in the intro is a 4-inch model version. So you do have a 4-inch barrel on this one. Most of the ones that were sold for the concealed carry market just utilized a 2-inch barrel, okay? The difference between a standard 950 and a 950B is the 950Bs had some certain enhancements that were made to the gun, some rolling design changes, a little bit better firing system, a little bit more reliable ignition, a stronger barrel mount and lockup. So overall, a little bit better gun as they got into the B models. This particular version actually sports a very, very rare and uncommon set of medallion Beretta grips on it. And it's got the old school Beretta logo. This gun was produced in 1954, so that makes it a second year production model 950 Minx in 22 short, okay? I love the scroll work in terms of the old school markings on this old one. This is a second year production. There's also a lot of rolling changes and different variants of the magazines, okay? The magazine that I have right here is the original magazine that came with the 1954 Beretta. It's got 3 rivet swells in there where they reinforced it. You can also see the feed ramp is really crude on the early mags, but this one should be functional. We're gonna test that out. They did make several rolling changes to the magazine design, dare I say improvements, but all of the magazines, no matter which ones you come across, they will work in all of the different guns as long as it's for the cartridge that it's intended for. You notice that there's a spacer that goes in this magazine to take up the additional space, and you just got those little cute 22 short cartridges there in the magazine. The magazines hold 6 shots of 22 short, and I'll show you how to chamber a round in this thing. It's pretty interesting, okay? The 25 automatic holds 7 rounds of ammunition. I knew that, I had to count. 7 plus 1 on the 25, 6 plus 1 on the 22 short. So the general consensus back in the day was that a lot of smaller frame shooters, you know, namely youngsters, women, people with, you know, maybe arthritis or issues in their hands, the elderly, had a lot of hard time pulling a slide back on a pistol. So what they did with the tip-up barrel is they wanted to have the ability for someone to load the gun without having to pull the slide back. That's why this exists, for this reason. Okay, so if I had a loaded magazine in the gun, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put a loaded magazine in there. It's locked in place. It uses a heel magazine release. You can see that the barrel is up and there's no round in the chamber. If I wanted to load this, I could close the barrel and then cock the slide just like you would any other gun, but the most efficient way to load this pistol is to just insert a full magazine into the gun, and you just simply take a spare round. So I've got 6 in the magazine. You take a spare round, you put it in the chamber directly with the barrel tipped up, you close the action with just a gentle press of your thumb. Now the gun's ready to fire with a simple cocking of the hammer. Now, since this is an early 950, it doesn't utilize a manual safety. It only has a half cock, which the half cock is already engaged. So you could slip this in your purse, in your pocket, whatever, go to town, do your thing. Some baddie tries to mess with you, you pull it out of your pocket, you cock the hammer, and you've got a raging mouse gun ready to bark, okay? Now this one's a 2-inch barrel, 1954 produced 950, and it is little. All right, let's give it a try. Oh, it didn't work. Well, okay. That's a no-go, isn't it? All right, let's try it again. Well, other than the malfunction that we got there, pretty accurate, okay? Very cool. One thing I'd like to mention on these 950s is being a 22 short, they can be a little finicky, as you saw right there. To be fair, guys, this magazine is from 1954. She's old, okay? But man, pretty stellar accuracy out of a mouse gun, especially considering that I'm shooting it at distances that would be way more than what you would ever expect to shoot a gun like this. These small mouse guns would be a little bit more well-suited for up close and personal. You know, some attackers on top of you trying to steal your purse, your lady, you pull your gun out and you let 7 rip into the bad guy at close range, point blank range, and hope that it works. Now, I will mention that on the reliability standpoint, the 25s are much more reliable. I do carry this BS model with the manual safety and 25 automatic from time to time when I just want to pack a light gun. And I found it to be utterly reliable, really, really great. One thing I'll mention on the rimfire versions though, especially 22 shorts, you got to keep them clean. And you've got to really vet your magazines and make sure that you're checking them out. So just for fun, let's take the same 54 model. And okay, that's the original magazine. I'm just gonna take one of these other mags and let's just try it with another magazine and see if it functions without any issues. And we're gonna give her a mulligan, guys. She's old, okay? And here in a moment, I'll show you how to unload the gun. It's pretty interesting the way that you unload the chamber on the pistol as well. All right, so a full magazine in the pistol here. We're gonna close the barrel. We've got a spare round we just dropped in. All right, let's try this other magazine and see if this 54 will run for us. Boy, she's tiny. Okay, let's give it a try. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, maybe she needs springs, guys. Okay, no big deal. Try again. You know, the accuracy of these little guns never fails to surprise me how good they shoot for a little 2-inch tip-up barrel. Now, to be fair, this little girl here probably needs some fresh springs, but interesting point. All right, so I'm gonna show you, I showed you how to load it, okay? Ooh, that mag catches a little stiff. All right, we're gonna take the 4-inch 1969 model, and I'm gonna show you, a lot of people don't know the proper way to unload these guns. It's pretty interesting, okay? Now, I don't have a magazine in this gun, but I am, because I have to do it. I'm gonna stick a live round in the chamber. I'm gonna make sure that the hammer's on half cock. Okay, you heard that click. The gun is in its safe mode, okay? To unload the pistol, you remove the magazine, and you do not have to retract the slide to get the round out of the magazine. The way you know if your chamber's clean and if the gun is kept proper, You should be able to hold the pistol level, push the lever forward, the barrel will tip up, and it should throw the round out of the chamber. Watch, like that. And that's how you unload the gun. And it's also how you know that the chamber's clean. If the round sticks in the chamber when you do that, the gun's not clean enough to operate and you need to perform maintenance. Interesting little foot point there. There are some minor differences in like the grips and things. They did do some inox versions with the nice, like silver looking finish on them. You'll see some with wooden grips and things. Probably the rarest type of grip to find on them are the early grips with the medallions and the early Beretta logo on there. Also, there are some considerable differences in the magazine releases. Okay, the early mag releases have this knurled button on them, okay? The later magazine releases just have a simple screw. And then lastly, getting into the later production of them, it's just a simple knurled button with just some kind of textury, grippy little spots on it there. So they did go through some minor changes in the grips and a few of the overall features. As the guns got a little bit later, they did eventually move production to Brazil. So there's some South American produced 950s, Italian produced 950s, and then from about, I want to say 1970, 71 on to about 03, that's when you're going to see most of your US made 950B and BSs. Really cool stuff. I think mainly just the 22 short fell out of popularity because there's just way better cartridges out there. I mean, even the 25 automatic out of this 2-inch barrel doesn't really yield too much more power than a standard 22 long rifle. So I think the 21s wound up being a lot more reliable, and you probably end up getting a little bit better round count for such a small gun. And then when you got into the Jetfires and you got into some of the later Bobcats and Tomcats and all the cat named Beretta pistols and things, that's when you got into your 380s and your 32s and things like that, which would certainly be a little bit better medicine for a compact pistol than a 22 short. Definitely better than a 22 short, and then considerably better than a 22 or a 25 automatic, and honestly, probably cheaper to shoot. I mean, 25 auto ammo isn't exactly cheap, so it's like if you're gonna have to buy the 25 auto ammo, you might as well go ahead and pick up a 32 or a 380. And I think that was probably Beretta's thinking too. They were responding to, needs that they were getting from shooters and from the consumer market. So that's why this pistol fell by the wayside. And you can see in the 22 short, maybe not the most reliable thing. I mean, accuracy, certainly usable accuracy, okay? I'm gonna take the 4-inch model and we'll put a mag through this thing real quick. All right, so 6-round mag into the gun. I'm gonna try to find a little bit less collectible version of this 4-inch 950, and I wanna cut one down and thread it and put a can on it. It'd be kind of cool. So this is my James Bond gun. And for what it's worth, Beretta did just re-release a 21A with a factory threaded barrel and the kind of tactical tan finish. It's a real sharp looking gun. I actually held one of those the other day. I haven't had a chance to shoot one, but from what I hear, they're really neat. Okay, I've got a spare round right here. Okay, again, spare round in the chamber, close her up, gun's on half cock. You'd simply pull it out and cock the hammer and shoot, okay? Really good group. All right, I'm gonna shoot a group at 25 yards. And that's a long way for a 22 short out of this little barrel, but let's give it a try, just for fun. I mean, these little pistols are a lot more accurate than people give them credit for. I mean, you're talking headshots at 25 yards. Now, granted, it's a 22 short. Now, I will mention as well, the sights on these things are tiny. They are almost non-existent. They are very, very difficult little sights to pick up. So, by modern standards, probably not a very good carry gun. Not something you want to get caught in a long-distance gunfight with. But honestly though, if a perpetrator was right on top of you, trying to hurt you, and you had one of these things that was sprung just right and nice and clean, feed it some hot ammo, it could certainly dissuade somebody pretty well. And I think that was Beretta's overall school of thought. All right, got another magazine here. I've only got a few more mags. I'll shoot it a few more times. Man, I'm loving the 4-inch model. Really sweet piece of gear. Like it, okay? Round in the chamber. All right, gun is on full cock. We're ready to shoot, okay? Look at that. That's a nice group. That's probably a 3-inch group at 25 yards out of a 4-inch mouse gun and 22 short. I don't think you could beat that. I mean, for what this little guy's intended to do, I'm ridiculously happy. Let's try the other target next to it. Rut-row. Strange. Not very reliable, are they? Very cool. These guns are just kind of an interesting footnote. I'm not overly sure I would trust my life to one of these little 22 shorts. The 25s are bone reliable. So if you are going to get a 950 to carry and you want a really tiny mouse gun, the 22 shorts are interesting. They're fun to shoot. It is very difficult to get them to run 110% reliably. Just something to keep in mind. All right, I've got one last mag here. I'm going to put the gun on half cock. Remember, this one doesn't have a safety, only a half cock. All right, we're going to put our mag in there, our spare round, and we'll lock our barrel down, and the gun's ready to shoot once we cock the hammer. And let's go ahead and see if we can take out our poppers here. Look, I'm just going to use one hand. This is a 69, so let's go the James Bond route. What do you say? Oh boy. All right, it's probably not even going to knock the plate over. Yep. Not liking that. A quick note on these things is if you do end up having some form of a malfunction, there is no extraction. So if you have the gun where, let's just say the slide fails to cycle all the way or something like what just happened there, and honestly, this gun could need springs as well, just like the 54, you can't extract the cartridge. So there are some pitfalls and downfalls to this pistol that were later fixed. I do believe that the 32 ACP and 380 tip-up barrel Berettas have an external extractor, which would definitely make clearing a potential stoppage a much more, easy task to undertake. Let's go ahead and give it a try. I've only got 2 rounds left. We got a round in the chamber. Let's give it a shot, see if it works. Yeah, probably not the first gun I would choose, but I mean, in terms of accuracy, definitely accurate. Well, a whole mag of 22 short couldn't knock that plate over. That's okay. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching today. We hope you enjoyed my video on clearing stoppages in the 950 Beretta. But look, these guns are not without their faults, but I like them. I think they're cool, and I think they're a really interesting kind of footnote. And I do enjoy shooting them. Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't carry a 22 short as a defensive pistol, but they are a ton of fun to shoot. And as you can see, capable of some pretty decent feats of accuracy. So, sometimes you're just feeling bored, you want to get out and shoot something different. They just kind of scratch an interesting itch for the gun enthusiast out there. And I can't wait to suppress one of these. I think it'll be really cool. So guys, we hope you enjoyed today's video. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. I definitely want to take a moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters, those of you who purchase man cans. Hey, go over to Ballistic Ink, pick yourself up a snazzy t-shirt like the one I'm wearing. Those are all ways that you can support the channel directly. We really appreciate you for it. Have a good one. We'll see you later.